Welcome everybody to the Money Strong Podcast. My name is Bryan Foltice, and today we're going to be unpacking 4 ways of why we don't succeed in our long-term financial planning, but we're also going to talk about how we can do better in our long-term financial planning. So thank you very much for listening or watching today, and I hope everyone's doing well. We are in the tail end of our school year, right on the back end, trying to finish out the last couple of weeks. And so I have this mixture of excitedness, readiness for my calendar to be clear, to continue to work on content, and to have my email quiet and my life and my mind quieter instead of the craziness that has happened. And I'm also kind of running on fumes here after a long year of classes, and then it's everything else that goes with it as a professor. And I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in. I love my students, and there's a reason for summer break for instructors and for teachers and professors. And I always say it's to refill the niceness tank, because it kind of wears on you over time. And so it's all the requests, all the needs. It has nothing to do with classes. It's always something outside of that. And so anyway, happy to be here, and happy to be moving into summer mode. You'll definitely, now that we've got videos on, you're definitely going to see the transition into summer mode. Going to look a little more rested, a little more tan, hopefully, and hopefully have some more clarity on some of these ideas and frameworks that we're rolling out, and a lot more energy going into the Money Strong program, getting the word out, talking about it, and getting as many people as we can excited to work on their finances and planning. And so today's topic, though, is talking about why we don't really do very well in our financial planning, primarily our long-term financial planning. And so I'm going to lay out 4 different reasons that came to mind as I was thinking about this. Number 1, why we don't succeed in our planning is we don't start in the first place. And this is where this could be a long-term failure or a short-term failure. We just stay on the starting line. Now, we unpack a number of different reasons why people don't start. And a lot of it has to do with people feeling overwhelmed. There's a lot of information overload. There's an overwhelming feeling about how far people feel like they need to climb. So they see $2.2 million to retire comfortably, and they're at 0. You go, oh, forget it. It's too much. And so we're not even going to take the steps to get that first 1,000, which is super important, to just get that first $500 to $1,000 under your belt, get that saved, and now move into that next step. But people get overwhelmed and just stay right on the starting line. Secondly, even people who have kind of built up a little bit, they're kind of dipping their toe in, they got a lot of money in their checking account, and you go, hey, that's a great start. You know, you've got your flexibility fund set, 3 to 6 months worth of expenses set aside. And so let's see if we can put that into action just a little more. We're not going to tinker with it. We don't need to go buy any stocks or any indices or anything like that. Let's just get this into a money market, which today is going to make you around 4%. And people go, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's get 4%. Okay, well, you got to open up an account somewhere. And tell me if you've had a recent experience on how long it has taken you to open up the account. I'm willing to guess it's going to be, on average, about 5 minutes. And you'll need your driver's license. And I think that's it to open up a brokerage account at Fidelity or at Vanguard or any one of the firms, Robinhood, to get that account open. But with that comes a whole variety of different account options, which is a reason to shut people down. Sometimes you'll have to call somebody to get on the phone. Now, all of a sudden, your 5-minute thing turns into an hour-long conversation to get this open. And you start going down that path of what could possibly happen wrong. You sign up for the wrong account, or you do something wrong and it doesn't work, all to move money over to earn 4%. Well, for most people, that shuts it down, shuts the whole process down. And so when we're trying to overcome this is why we talk about setting milestones, like one step at a time. That's what the Money Strong program is set up to do, to build up your milestones and your hierarchy, your priorities, how you're going to set up your financial priorities. So if you're in loans or student debt or have any credit card debt, your priority list is we're going to get between $500 and $1,000 saved up. It's just stored away for an emergency if you have to go to the doctor or need new brakes on your car. After that, you are going to use your employer match and come up with your employer match for your 401k or whatever retirement offerings are offered. We're going to take that free money. After that, we roll it into working out our debt, using our financial plan, whatever money is left over, to roll that into extra payments in our debt. Or if you want to balance that out, it's either making extra payments on your debt and adding a little extra savings into your retirement savings. And then we say, after that, so somebody walking out of school with student loans, they go, oh, so that's 3 steps. It's kind of all there is to it. You go, yeah. So hopefully once you break it down into smaller bite sizes, it gets somebody to act on it and go, oh, well, I can come up with that $500 or $1,000 in a month. Yes, good. Well, if you're doing that and you've signed up for your employer match, you got that set. You have the foundation set. Now we just have to work on getting out of debt. And once you get out of debt, you roll over all that extra money at the end of the month into cool stuff, which is extra flexibility fund, adding, 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Then you start saving for your retirement. You up that number. You also up anything left over into fund savings, which is like saving for a house or investing in stocks, investing in real estate, investing in your own business. It's where it becomes very personalized, but you follow this process, how this works, and you go, oh, it's leading me to action. And that's why this whole program is set into place. And so we have it broken down into pieces. And then number 2, we have we're also, by the way, when it comes to opening an account, I think I'm working on this when we're doing these live. I can't force people to open an account, but I do create a space in our classes of, hey, if you want to open up a brokerage account or do this, we're going to have this amount of time carved out for it. If you have your license with you, let's get that set up. And we're just going to go through it here in 5 minutes to have you done. So it clears that hurdle of people who actually have money, who want to put it to use or want to get started on just small amounts of investing. That, okay, you say you want to do this. We're going to do it now. We're going to jump in. We're going to get this account open now. We have nothing left to do. You can sit here and just mess around on doom scrolling, or we can just get this done in 5 minutes. Otherwise, you're still going to be here. So I have to kind of balance that forcefulness with being, too firm, and you can't make them do it, but creating space for them to clear that hurdle. All right, so that's number 1. We just don't start in the first place. Number 2, why we don't succeed at financial planning. Whenever we hit a setback, we quit. And so this could be if you lose a job, and you're making progress, you lose a job, or something really significant happens, and I said, oh, I got sick, or I got it, and I said, that's it, and I never recovered from it. And, I understand that there's some really significant setbacks that can happen in somebody's life, but I would push back and say, oh, I think, with some fortitude that these could be overcome. And that's where once we hit that setback, then whether it's market or circumstances, job, that we have to figure out, what are we going to do? And that's where I always say, you fall down 7 times, you rise 8. And whenever we have any financial setbacks, some months are better than others, friends. Some months get away from you from a spending standpoint. If you're sitting on St. Thomas Beach or St. Thomas Island for 13 or 12 days, like Mandy and I did here last month, finances can get away from you. That place is so expensive. And there's a lot of sticker shock. And even once the sticker shock somewhat wore off, I still had to calculate all the expenses, and those rum and cokes that I was sucking down on the beach, I had to finally account for how much I paid on those. And so again, these are small setbacks, nothing huge happened. But you go, yeah, well, we didn't save as much as we normally should have in this month. And you just move on. You kind of roll forward. It's the same thing when I was just getting out of debt and my transmission went out, and AA MCO, AMCO, charged me $1,966 for my new transmission. I remember really crying as I wrote that out, going, I had just saved this first amount after getting out of debt, and now it's wiping me back out. And I'll never forget, that was my moment of, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to shut down, or are you going to rise up? And so this kind of comes back to my basketball background, where I had told you in a previous episode that I treated basketball as if it were life or death. Wins and losses were life and death. So when we would lose a game, I would walk home because I didn't deserve a car ride, or I would sleep in my car because I didn't deserve a bed, and would really take these losses super hard. And so one such game, I was up in my house showering after the game, and got home, and I was slamming stuff and, really, really upset, and putting on, just this tremendous fit. And my dad, who didn't really say too much, he was pretty quiet, very supportive and helpful and loving. He wasn't a motivator or anything, but he opened the door, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, are you going to just slam things around in here when things don't go your way? Or are you actually going to do something about it next time you go into that circumstance? And he's like, you're in here slamming stuff. You should have been slamming stuff when you were playing, but now you have a decision to make. Are you going to just pout and slam shit all over the shower? Or are you actually going to get mad about it and do something about it the next time it comes around? And so that never left me. That thought has never left me of, whatever's happened in the past, can't control that. You're going to be mad about it and cry about it? Or are you going to get mad about it and do something about it in the future? Anyway, setbacks, that's your moment. Something sets you back, something wipes out your account. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to throw a fit, or are you going to get mad about it and buckle down and do something about it? Anyway, we quit when we have a setback. That's what keeps people on square one after a hardship. And they use that as their excuse as to why they haven't gotten back up. And that's where I want to encourage you, that we all have setbacks. Some are worse than others. But let's reach out for help for those who have the significant setbacks, to have a community of people reaching out to help them. And then sometimes, if it's not that harsh, to have that own mental conversation with yourself of, let's get mad about it. Let's do something. I'm not going to let this keep me down. Number 3, we build an unsustainable plan. And I see this a lot when we write out our financial plans, our budget. We're going to have this much, $20 for groceries and $20 for eating out per month. And it looks gorgeous on paper because you can get those numbers to look real nice. And the reality is, though, unless you are super, super disciplined, we're not going to be able to adhere to those. Now, what that does is it gives somebody a sense of failure. when they are missing their numbers by so much, when life gets in the way and that real expenses take place. And when it's not handled properly, that's when the problems happen. And that's when people just shut down and go, I remember I wrote a budget. It didn't work out very well. And here we are. I'm never doing a budget again. Well, I just wanted to say, yeah, I get that, but let's try it again. Let's build in a little bit of buffer so we can see what numbers we're looking at and know that we're not doing our tracking for bullying purposes or to make us feel bad. It's only to raise awareness. And this is where I'm very serious about. Let's just keep emotions out of it. It's kind of like when I tell you, man, we went way over budget on rum and cokes and having fun on St. Thomas. Yeah, so we're moving on, and I'm not getting high or low about it, and we just move on. And the next time we're there, we have a choice to make. Am I going to continue to drink rum and cokes, or do we save a little bit more money? I don't know what I'll choose. Probably rum and cokes. But again, there's just no negative emotions around it. We're not beating each other up around it. It's just, it is what it is. So when we build this unsustainable plan, even if we can adhere to it for 60 or 90 days, if we build this plan of like just bare bones expenses, something's going to give. And usually something happens and it sets you off and it sets you way back and you go all the way back, even worse than you were before. Now, we see this with fitness. Somebody works out. Remember the old P90X? This is a little bit dated, but this old P90X 90-day program. People would get really fired up, really into it, and fit, and then they'd get to day 91. What do you do on day 91? Well, I'm not going to start that stupid program. That was way too intense. What do? I don't know. 90 days later, they haven't done anything in the next 90 days. So they get all gung-ho about it, and then they stop the program and they can't do anything. Same thing happens with some of these finance programs. You get on this 13-week Dave Ramsey financial peace plan. Everyone gets fired up and they're knocking out debt and everything like that. And then you leave that group. And a year later, they come back. We assess the situation. They've actually gone backwards. They were doing so well in those 13 weeks. What happened? It's not sustainable. And that's where we're tying these together, where lack of emotion, a little bit detached. We're just kind of viewing it from a real non-judgmental perspective, just looking at the numbers. We're adjusting the numbers as we need to with a long-term view in mind. And that's where I've had to change my mindset from trying to set personal records in the gym because we're going to be, playing basketball that next year. And so you're going to get yourself better, get your body in better shape, all these things to, hey, you know what? I could really push myself, but I see a lot of these guys who are pushing so hard. They're doing it's like the P90X. Go, are you going to be here in a year? Are you going to be here in 2 years? What about 10 years? Are you going to be here? Because I plan on doing that. I plan on being here. And typically what you see is, oh yeah, I got hurt or I pulled this muscle when I was lifting really hard and now I'm way back to being worse than where I was when I started. It's like, yeah, that's very similar with financial planning as well. When we hit that setback, when we're going so hard and it's unsustainable, we just stop and it goes all the way back to zero. So build a sustainable plan. Think about yourself. Can I adhere to this financial plan in a year from now? What about 3, 5, 10 years? Is this something we could keep going on, that we're living happily and can keep up this progress? That's a really good, very accurate financial plan that you can work on. Sure, you can cut back sometimes. You can throttle forward sometimes, but at least it's more manageable and sustainable, and that'll get you towards your long-term goals. Number 4, we lose motivation. So the motivation is something that is very emotional. So we're motivated to do this. We're motivated. Motivation can help in the short term at certain times. Long term, motivation's gone. The motivation, the high, the emotion around that is gone. It's now consistency. Being consistent around this. And once again, this kind of ties to that number 3, the sustainability, being on fire. That's the motivated part. And then that's gone. What do you do? And that's really where the rubber meets the road, especially for personal finances. When we're talking long term, we're going to do something sustainable and we're going to do it consistently. So we're going to motivation is going to go up and down. That's great. Consistency is going to be the key, and just stay on the path. Not going to get too high, not going to get too low. And that's where the behavioral aspects come in, the psychology comes into play. So once again, when we're talking here, we have not thrown out any numbers. As much as I love numbers and love to crunch them and to calculate them and throw them out, remember, this whole conversation has not gone around numbers. This is all behavioral psychology-based stuff. And so that's where I just think, even when and there's a lot of similarities with being disciplined with your personal finances and disciplined in your fitness. And same thing, motivation. Sometimes you're motivated to work out. Other times you're just not feeling it. What do you do that day? And so if you are consistent getting in the door, I always say to the person at the front desk, like, how you doing? It's like, great. Half the battle was walking in the door. Whatever I do behind us is extra credit. And I feel that way because those are the days where you're not motivated to go do something, but you still get in there and do it anyway. And that's the same thing with your personal finances, to work through the numbers when you're not motivated, to stay consistent on your budget when you're not motivated. That's just consistency. And that's what's going to help you in your long-term success. We've made it. That's 4. What did I miss? I feel like I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments. I'm wide open to having conversations and talking about this, filling in the cracks. This is just trying to create some ideas and some frameworks around some of these concepts and to have these conversations that hopefully can assist and I'm not saying motivate you to do better, but to help us be more consistent, to build sustainable financial plans that we won't quit when we have a setback, and that we will actually we'll start on it and we'll continue to follow through on the step-by-step process. So if you're interested and want to get some information on the Money Strong information, you can go to moneystrong.learnworlds.com or find me on Bryan Foltice, BryanFoltice.com. And we'll get that connected here hopefully soon to moneystrong.net. So all this information, this program will be here for you, and we're going to be building out that professional. So if you're a college student, we're ready for you. This thing is rolling out and gaining popularity among students, especially at Butler right now. And we're bringing that out to all college students. So go find me on that moneystrong.learnworlds.com for the full program, and you can see the whole comprehensive thing that will get your finances in order. It is all set up to take you from where you're at to where you want to be and where you need to be. So come check me out, leave a comment or subscribe. Let's help get this messaging out, this very important concept and very important messaging to help people. So anyway, thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.